And welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to build your own custom floating islands in Minecraft. Now for this tutorial we are using the server plugins Voxel Sniper and World Edit. That being said, it is possible to do this by hand, but I would not recommend it. So before we get started, these are all the blocks we're going to be using. We need the item, the wooden axe, to use the world edit commands, and we need the gunpowder, and this is for Voxel Sniper, which I'm going to be showing you how to use in just a sec. Now for the island itself, we're going to be using stone, cobblestone, andesite, clay, podzol, coarse dirt, the grass block, grass itself, and just a pretty white flower, just to add a little bit of extra detail to the surface of the grass itself. So as we get started, the first command you're going to need to know how to do is /b/d1. Then you're going to do /b5/v stone. So I know that might have been a lot for if you don't know any of what we're doing here, so let me just go through in depth and explain what all of those commands mean. So the v stone, what we're doing there is we're setting our voxel to stone, so that means we're going to be placing stone blocks. The B5 means the brush size is 5 blocks in diameter, so we are going to be placing down 5 block thick circles. And the B/D1 is overlaying the ground with a depth of 1, so every time we click with the gunpowder, we get a stone circle. And now what that allows us to do is it allows us to just hold it down and click all over the ground, and this will slowly start to build up a cone shape if we're careful about where we place. But if we do happen to mess up, you can type /u for undo, and just like it never happened, no problem at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of get a basic layout for where we are going to be placing down all of these floating islands, as I'm going to be showing you how to make more of a biome itself than just one floating island, because these things look a lot cooler if you have more than one. So my plan for this is I'm just going to kind of have one in the middle and then almost surround it with a couple others, just to give it that, like I said, little extra surrounding to really complete the atmosphere of the fantasy floating island field. So we're just going to add one more here, and I think we're going to be good for the base layout of the shape for these islands. And for this one, I think I'm going to add 2 peaks because I think that'll look pretty cool. And there is no right way to do this. When you're working with organic design, the worst thing you can do is make it too geometric. So if there's random blocks that look a little out of place, that's actually going to help your build overall to make it look just more natural in general. So now that we've kind of lifted this up a little bit, we're going to lower our brush size to 3. And now this, you guessed it, just makes a slightly smaller circle. So as we click up, it'll make it come to more of a point. And again, we're not going overboard, we're just getting it up just a little bit taller on each of these peaks. And last one here, we should be good. And then what I like to do is I like to go in by hand and just make a little bit of a topper, just because once the brush gets too low, it will just start making 2x2 squares. So it is a preference thing. I like the tip of these islands to be a little bit more just narrow, I guess. I think that just makes it look better and gives it a better overall feel to it. So just 3 more here. I think that looks good. Just maybe take that block off the top there. Get this one squared away. And last one here, and then we'll be done with this. So you might be asking yourself why we're building these cones just straight up into the sky, because after all, we are making floating islands, right? But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna stand here and type in //pause1. What this does is for world edit, that sets the first position of our region in the ground here, and we're gonna fly all the way over to the other side of these islands and select the second position so that we have this whole area selected. So //pause2, enter. Then we're going to come to the tip of the center island, and we're going to copy the whole thing with //copy, and then we're going to set it all to air. Now this will make sense in just a sec. So // set air. Now that we've gotten rid of all of it on the ground, we are going to look up directly into the sky. This is very important, and type \flip. And what that did is it just took all of those just mountain peaks is basically what we made, and it flipped them upside down, so now they're in the shape of floating islands. And then we're gonna paste it in with \paste -a. Now what the -a is doing is it's getting rid of all the air blocks, so we're not going to eat into the ground whenever we paste it. And enter. And give it a sec. We are probably going to spawn in the middle of it, unfortunately. I'm going to try to break my way out of here. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to quickly throw on a potion of night vision, just so you guys can kind of see better without the underside of these islands being kind of in a shadow. So as you can see here, we now have some just bare bones floating islands. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be over D1 once again with the same voxel of stone and a depth or a brush size of 3. And right before we do that, we are going to select a region using pause 1 and pause 2 for world edit once again, and make sure we only select the top layer of this stone. And what we're going to do is we're going to stack this on top of itself to make it 2 blocks deep. The reason for that will become clear in just a sec. So now that we're able to select a whole region, pause 2, look up in the sky, \stack, and now we are 2 blocks thick. So now that we've done that, we can come back over with this brush again and really quickly just kind of make simple, almost rolling hills. Like I'm kind of going for just some plains here, nothing too fancy. I'm going to do specific biome floating island tutorials later, so if you like this sort of thing, make sure to tune into those. So I'm not going to go too high. If you wanted mountains, you could always just do the exact same thing we did when we were down making the base of the islands if you wanted just really sharp pointy peaks. And you could also not touch these at all if you just wanted it to be completely flat. It's all up to you. That's the beauty of this game, is it's just up to your own creativity and whatever you want to have happen. So I'm going to make the center of this here into a little bit more of a rolling hill. There we go. Same with this here, just to add just a little bit extra height to it. And just a little bit more here, and we should be done with this part. And let's add 2 hills there. Perfect, that's looking really good. And at the bottom here, you will get a little bit of a mess. That's just the aftermath of this brush. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. You just set it to air afterwards. Looks like nothing happened. It's a non-issue, don't worry about it. So now that we have the shape of our island, it's time to get into the detailing. So what I wanted to do is I wanted the stone part of this island to be made up of stone, detailed with cobblestone, andesite, and clay. So my envision is just kind of have the tips of them be more of a clay block. So what we're going to do is we're going to do /b space sb space mm. Now what this is doing is this is a splatter command. So when we type /vr stone, that stands for voxel replace. So we're replacing stone with a voxel of clay, so /v clay. And we're going to set our brush size to 5. Now whenever we click with the gunpowder, we're having a splatter of clay all around the stone. So I'm just going to kind of fly underneath every tip and just spam a bunch of clay just to get that nice bit of detailing to make it look like as they get deeper into the ground, the material kind of changes, and it's just a really soft texture that looks good from the ground. I found it that it's one of the more appealing textures in the game, and we're just going to add a little bit more clay just around the island so it doesn't look like too abrupt of a change. You kind of want to integrate it into the rest of the blocks around it just to give it the best overall feel. So quickly just going to finish doing that with the rest of these islands, and I think that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we've been doing this whole time, and that is to select a region over the whole thing. So /pause 1 in this corner. Make sure you fly directly to the other corner to select the whole thing, and do /pause 2. Yes, pause is short for position. And now we are going to run a \replace command, and we are going to be replacing stone to cobblestone and andesite. So the item IDs go as follow. Stone is 1, cobblestone is 4, and andesite is 1:5. So what we're going to do is we're going to do // replace 1 with 1, 4, 1:5. And once we run that, you'll see everything appears a lot more textured. It gives a lot more life to just the dull grayness. Even though it's all gray, it mixes up the textures. It'll make the build look a lot better. Now, just out of curiosity, I want to check and see if something works really quick. We need the arrow item. I forgot to mention that earlier. Grass B3. Okay, so that doesn't work. So I probably should have made note of that ahead of time. What we're gonna do is we're gonna set all the top blocks here. So we're gonna select a region just using that very top layer of stone. We're gonna pause one over here, fly over to the other side. And the reason we're doing this is the B over command only works on certain blocks. So the andesite and cobblestone actually don't work. So we're just gonna replace all those blocks with stone. Now what we're gonna do is come through here and do the splatter command again, /B space SBMM, replace stone with, let's go dirt. Brush size 5. Now we're just gonna fly along the sides here, spamming dirt all over the place. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna replace this to coarse dirt so it looks a little more in place. And this really helps with avoiding just the abrupt change between grass and stone that just makes your build look a little less realistic, because in reality it isn't just a clean cut between the materials in the earth. They all kind of mold together and just fade, and with this splatter effect we're getting a nicer transition instead of that just geometric clean cut line that we're trying to avoid. This is organics. It's supposed to look random. It's supposed to look like someone didn't generate this. You know, I think that's good. And we're really quickly, dirt is 3 and coarse dirt is 3:1. So we're going to replace the dirt. So // replace 3 with 3:1. Enter. And now that'll look a lot darker. But I forgot to set this region lower. That's no problem. I really hope this is pause 1 though. /pause 1. Run the command again. Perfect, it was. That's great. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do again /B over D1. Now we're gonna set our brush size to 20, and it'll say warning, large brush size selected. That's fine. B over D1's not a demanding command. It's not gonna crash the server or anything. Just ignore that. Then /V grass. Now what the arrow does is it does the exact opposite of what the gunpowder does. So whenever we click, it's going to integrate the grass into the landscape itself, which is great. So now we can just fly around here spamming this brush, and it'll make the top look nicely covered with grass. So now what we're going to do, since I wanted the top to be a mixture of coarse dirt, podzol, and grass, the ID for grass is 2. The ID for coarse dirt is 3:1, and the ID for podzol is 3:2. So what we're going to do is since we already have this whole region selected, we are going to do // replace 2 with 2:2:2:2. We'll go 5 2s. So 2, 5 times, then 3, 3:1, 3:2, enter. And that's going to give, again, a lot more life, a lot more texture to the top of the grass itself. And it looks like our night vision faded out, so we're just going to drink up a little bit more of this just to get rid of the shadows so you can clearly see what's going on. Now, this next command is how we are going to place grass all over this world. And it is by far the most complex, but I'm sure you guys can handle it. Just follow along. I'm going to put all the words on screen like I have been. So what we do is /B sover CD1, then we're doing /VI1, and then /VR0 /V long_grass with a brush size of 10. So now when we right click with gunpowder, we are going to get that long grass forming on these plains to give it more vegetation, more realistic. And then once we get this done, we're just going to kind of right click more than once in an area if you want to make it more dense. This is a great alternative to the bone meal technique because it gives you a lot more control over where the grass is actually spawning in. And then, like I said earlier, for the top of this, we want the grass, which is 31:1, and the white flower, which is 38:3. So we're going to take / replace 31:1 with 31:1. Just a lot of those, just make sure you spam a lot of that into there because we definitely want a lot more grass than the white flower itself. So there really isn't any right answer, just kind of mess around here. This is where you add in various types of flowers, various types of sapling, more leaves, just depending on what you want your vegetation to look like. You're in complete control, but we are keeping it simple for this video because this is just showing you basic techniques. So I think that's enough. So we're ready to throw in, I forgot the ID really quick. What is it? 38:3. We're ready to throw in the 38:3. Then we're going to hit enter. And that's looking like a little bit too many flowers, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that and add a couple more 31:1s on the end of that. I think that should be enough. Yeah, I like that look a lot better. And for the finishing touch, we are going to spawn in a couple big trees and a couple small trees. So for this command, you're going to do /btree. It will show you a list of all the trees in the game, but we're going to want the big tree. So /btree big_tree. Then we right click with the gunpowder, and it should give us, we have to make sure we're clicking it on a grass block, and it'll just spawn in big trees. I like these as an alternative to the regular Minecraft trees just because they have a lot more life to them. They're a lot more unique, so you don't get the feel of every tree looks the same. It just looks a lot more lifelike. So once we place just a couple more onto this island here, I think that'll do it. So we'll just have to clean up the area down here, which is really easy. All you got to do is select the whole region. So we're gonna select the region here, /pause1, fly over to the other side for pause 2. We're gonna stay in the air a little bit to make sure we get all those stones, /pause 2, and / set air. And just so we can get rid of this here, we're gonna do b over d1 /v grass. Once again, the same command we did to get the grass up top, just that will fill in naturally, but I am impatient, so we will do it now. And that's it. That's how you make just simple, basic floating islands in Minecraft really quickly. That didn't take much time at all. That is so much quicker than using it by hand. It's definitely worth getting World Edit and getting Voxel Sniper to just really let your creativity flow with this sort of thing, because there's really not a whole lot holding you back. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be going into more in-depth on different types of biomes, different types of just natural shapes like mountains, volcanoes, maybe even oceans. I'm really looking forward to just having a lot of fun with this and just uploading videos on stuff that I know how to build that I think other people want to know how to build too. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I hope my rambling was somewhat understandable, and I will see you all in the next video.